Welcome to English Through History. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe or leave us a review. It helps us to create more content and is appreciated by our small team here. We hope you enjoy this episode. Margaret Thatcher, widely known as the Iron Lady, was one of the most influential and controversial political figures of the 20th century. Born on October 13th, 1925, in Grantham, Lincolnshire, England, she would go on to become the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and leave an indelible mark on British and global politics. This episode traces the remarkable life and career of Margaret Thatcher, examining her early years, her rise to power, and the lasting impact of her policies and leadership. Margaret Hilda Roberts, as she was known before her marriage, grew up in a modest family in Grantham. Her father, Alfred Roberts, was a grocer and a local politician, and her mother, Beatrice Roberts, was a homemaker. It was from her father that she inherited her conservative values and strong work ethic. Her early exposure to politics through her father's involvement in local government played a pivotal role in shaping her political aspirations. Thatcher's education began at Kesteven and Grantham Girls' School, where she excelled academically. In 1943, she won a scholarship to study chemistry at Somerville College, Oxford. There, she developed a passion for politics and became involved in the Oxford University Conservative Association. It was during her time at Oxford that she first demonstrated her formidable debating skills, which would later become a hallmark of her political career. After graduating from Oxford in 1947, Thatcher worked briefly as a research chemist before studying law at the Inns of Court School of Law in London. In 1950, she qualified as a barrister specializing in tax law. This legal background would prove invaluable to her future political career. Thatcher's entry into formal politics came in 1959 when she was elected as the Member of Parliament for Finchley, a seat she would hold for over 3 decades. During her early years in Parliament, she was seen as a rising star within the Conservative Party. Her strong conservative principles and well-researched arguments in debates earned her the respect of her colleagues. In 1970, when the Conservative Party returned to power under Prime Minister Edward Heath, Thatcher was appointed as Secretary of State for Education and Science. This marked her first ministerial position and allowed her to make significant reforms in the education system, including ending free milk for school children, a decision that earned her the nickname Thatcher the Milk Snatcher. The turning point in Thatcher's political career came in 1975 when the Conservative Party experienced a leadership crisis. Dissatisfaction with Heath's leadership led to a leadership election within the party, in which Thatcher decided to challenge Heath. Although she was initially considered an outsider, her uncompromising stance on economic and political issues resonated with a significant portion of the party's grassroots members, resulting in her election to leader of the Conservative Party, the opposition party to the ruling party at the time. Thatcher's victory in the leadership contest in 1975 made her the first female leader of a major British political party. This achievement garnered international attention and was seen as a breakthrough for women in politics. Her leadership style was characterized by her unwavering determination and strong convictions, earning her the nickname the Iron Lady. Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom on May 4th, 1979, after leading the Conservative Party to victory in the general election. She inherited a country facing numerous challenges, including high inflation, high unemployment, and economic stagnation. Her tenure as Prime Minister would be defined by her resolve to implement a series of transformative policies known as Thatcherism. One of the central tenets to Thatcherism was a commitment to free market capitalism and a reduction in the role of state on the economy. Her government implemented a series of economic reforms that included privatization of state-owned industries, deregulation of financial markets, and the sale of council-owned housing. These policies aim to increase competition, efficiency, and individual responsibility. Thatcher also took a tough stance on trade unions, which had gained significant power in the 1970s. She introduced laws that curtailed the power of unions and reduced the frequency of strikes. Her confrontation with unions, most notably the year-long miners' strike of 1984 to 85, were highly contentious and polarizing, but ultimately contributed to her image as a strong and determined leader. In foreign policy, Thatcher was known for her close relationship with US President Ronald Reagan. The two leaders shared conservative ideologies and worked closely on issues such as the Cold War, where they both took a hardline stand against the Soviet Union. Thatcher's resolute response in committing troops to the Falklands War in 1982, when Argentina invaded the British-held Falkland Islands, further solidified her image as a strong leader. While Margaret Thatcher's leadership was marked by bold reforms and unwavering conviction, it was also marred by controversy and opposition. Her policies led to significant social and economic disparities, with some accusing her of favoring the wealthy at the expense of the working class. Mass protests and riots, such as the 1981 Brixton riots and the 1984 to 85 miners' strike, reflected the deep divisions in British society during her premiership. Thatcher's unapologetic stance on austerity measures and her support for poll tax, a local taxation policy that was deeply unpopular, eroded her popularity and led to internal party dissent. In 1990, facing a leadership challenge from within her own party, Thatcher resigned as Prime Minister and was succeeded by John Major. Margaret Thatcher's legacy is a subject of ongoing debate. Supporters argue that her policies revitalized the British economy, reduced the power of trade unions, and reasserted Britain's role on the global stage. Critics, on the other hand, point to the social inequalities and divisions that grew under her leadership and argue that her policies have left many communities economically marginalized. After leaving office, Thatcher remained active in public life, delivering speeches and writing her memoirs. In 1992, she was awarded the Order of the Garter, the highest order of chivalry in England. However, her later years were marked by health problems, including a series of strokes, which eventually led to her passing on April 8, 2013, at the age of 87. Margaret Thatcher's impact on British politics and society is undeniable. She shattered glass ceilings for women in politics, transformed the economic and political landscape, and left an indelible mark on the Conservative Party. Her legacy continues to shape the ideological and political debates in the United Kingdom and around the world, making her a figure of enduring historical significance.